Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 3137 and 3000, the Doubleshot 3031. Got two X-Men trades. Don't worry, the next one's going to be DC. Okay? First thing we have is the very first trade from the Ashes era for X-Men. An era that 1 year in has not been a big sell of Marvel. This actually has been going pretty well, this book, because for some reason Marvel is ending after a year. They're ending NYX, X-Force, Wolverine, and Deadpool. In the case of Wolverine Deadpool, they're access to titles because they want to do it. Deadpool's and Wolverine title that's on the they have a title that sounds exactly the same as that. It's called Deadpool Wolverine by Joe Kelly. And I'm like, why would you end Wolverine for? He's a fantastic character on his own. I mean, you also end Laura McKinley's title. By the way, this era for X-Men has got several solo titles. You have one for Wolverine, Psylocke's got one, Storm, Magic, Dazzler had a mini-series, Mystique had a mini-series, I think it was even a Sentinels mini-series. I'm like, damn. It's like, this era is like, oh, let's just overbloat let's bloat the comic book shelves with like 20 X-Men titles. Not even Spider-Man has got that much. And this is what he currently has right now. He has Amazing Spider-Man, The Spectacular Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, all in the Venom, which they spoiled the most recent reveal of that one. Trying to think. There's Spider-Boy, of course. And that's it. Only 5. Well, the X-Men has got about 20. Which is a lot of titles. So, this is basically X-Men by Jed MacKay. You know, the writer of Avengers and Moon Knight, and also previously wrote Doctor Strange. Yeah, he writes his title, which makes him probably the first writer in the history of our comics. Well, probably the first time was since Stan Lee to do this. To write Avengers and X-Men the same time. Actually, no, he'd be the third writer of this because Roy Thomas did the same thing because he did also Avengers X-Men basically the same period of time. So, for this book, by the way, does unlike the previous couple of lines of X-Men, which those were kind of from the KNX numbering, this was kind of numbering from X-Men Volume 3. Yes. Now, this book collects the first 7 issues of X-Men Volume 7. We have Ryan Stegman the artwork here. The X-Men have moved to Alaska. They basically are scattered all over the place. This book is set in Alaska. Uncanny X-Men is set in New Orleans. Extraordinary X-Men, that's Nara X-Men title. That book is set in Chicago. X-Factor, of course, is working for the government, obviously. X-Force, I'm not sure where that's based in. X-Force, X-Force. That book is actually one of the first titles to get axed soon. After only 10 issues. Yes. So, the line of this book is quite interesting. So we have Scott Summers. For some weird reason, Ryan Stegman had it where, let's trim down Cyclops' muscle mass. For no reason. To make him look and give... the new outfit, fine, whatever. But it's like... Ryan Stegman told, hey, draw Cyclops like he's the teenage version of him. I don't get it. I've never gotten that. You have him. You have Beast. Juggernaut. ID, a.k.a. Templar. Yeah, Temper, that's her name now. Kid Omega, which, by the way, she does go Kid Omega for serving his war crimes on X-Force while she had to go to the pit. Which, good on basic Jim MacKay for remembering that. Because Kokoro is remembered here, basically, so Wolverine is recruited part of his roster, then he quits after the first issue. He's here just for this first issue alone, and then he's off to do Uncanny X-Men doing his own solo title. And of course, currently Wolverine X, Weapon X, which is a fantastic title, that's getting the axe after only 5 issues. I have no idea why in the world Marvel decided to do that for that title. That's what it did. Basically, also we have some characters get some new outfits, some back in old outfits here. We see some older characters returning here. Yeah, by the way, Magneto's in this book, and he's in a flying chair. There is a reason for that. We'll get to it. So we start off with X months later. We have the chief of police of Marla, Alaska, go to the factory. This place is a former. This factory built Sentinels, and yeah, there's a reason why basically they got this place. So then she answers the door. She rings the doorbell and answered by Beast. By the way, this Beast is not the same Beast who debuted back in X #1 back in 1963 that was created by Jack the King Kirby and Stan Lee. This is a different version of Beast. No, he's not a Time Dispatch version. He is not an alternate timeline version per se. He is a Krakoa duplicate. Technically, he's a clone. They don't dress he's a clone very much. He doesn't remember much at all. I kind of get the reason why Marvel did this, because I guess some people were not fans of having Percy turn one of the more popular X-Men characters into a villain. So they created this duplicate in order to basically fix that problem. Also had it where at the end of X-Force, where he moved to Wonder Man, now he's here with the X-Men. What happened with Wonder Man? I have no idea. And then we see Cyclops, Psylocke, who's actually Kanan, not Betsy, but she's doing whatever, and Kid Omega flying their spaceship, the Marauder, to someplace, and they're here with Temper, Magic, and Juggernaut. Yeah, Juggernaut's been kind of back in the X-Men roster since toward the end of the Krakoa stuff. So they go out, say some names. Gob is here. Yes, Glob is here. Because why not? And they're here at this. They look like, oh, it's a former Sentinel facility. And then all of a sudden that we see Wolverine as a nod to an old X-Men cover, where he is basically rescued by the X-Men while battling some old Sentinels. Yep. And they're fixing the mutants. And, well, there's something going on with that. And it's kind of weird what's going on here with that. So, then, of course, we actually have the mention of the war crimes and the pit stuff. Oh, yeah, and also the fact Temper and Kid Omega used to date. So, Kid Omega really wants to be with Pacific Cuckoo. So, Cyclops basically missed that. And, of course, then we have the chief of police meet up with, I kid you not, Grant Morrison character Zorn. And by the way, this is the original Zorn. You know, the one that was later revealed to be Magneto, and then revealed to be just Zorn poses Magneto, and this is the guy cosplayed X. Yeah, they brought this guy back. Don't know why they brought him back for, but they did. It is one of the most weirdest things. It's completely random. And who are these guys in suits? It's implied to be AIM, but they don't really say. And then we see Magneto in his chair, which they do explain this, by the way, in a flashback. So, after saving everybody, and then Wolverine leaves, because he wants nothing to do with this all, because the core fails, so he quits the X-Men. Though he's basically off to do Uncanny X-Men stuff. So, more young mutants. And then we see, apparently, this mystery about this giant metal sentinel, which they mention at the end of the book. And then we have these 4 people here, revealed to be the old mutant group, the Upstarts, an old villain group, enemy of Bishop. And then we have then we go to San Francisco, former home of the X-Men, where we have this guy causing illusions of spaceships about. Yeah, it's kind of weird. And of course, Temper gets along great with Juggernaut, who is still Professor Xavier's brother, if I don't mention it here. So, yeah. And by the way, here's the thing. So, this guy's X gene activated when he was an adult. Why didn't it activate when he basically hit puberty? It's a big mystery. I'm like, yeah, that's a mystery to explore in this book. Why people hit puberty hitting this stuff now? And the stuff here, and then the very next issue, at the factory, the Vanisher shows up. Yes, the Vanisher. Oh, and this issue is very famous. It's called Scott Summers vs. United States of America. There's a reason for this. So, Cyclops meets up with an agent of one. That's the Office of National Emergency. Which, of course, after the one from SI Complex basically was dismantled, the current version is led by a bunch of bigots. And, of course, basically, ID assaulting the Templar. And, of course, basically, like, they have... Oh, yeah, by the way, once we get a check for this thing. So, Cyclops and have a conversation. By the way, this is one of the guy's 2 appearances in this whole entire series so far. After this, we'll see this guy again to issue 10. That is the next time we see him. So, like, listen to me, no, you listen to me. Orchards kill scores of my species, unlawfully prison many, many more. I was held, tortured, raided for a show trial and execution, and my eyes were sewn shut. My wife was murdered, all with the tactical permission of the United States. All the other thing. So I settled for the factory for damages done to me. Percy was a gift. I won it because I could have won so much more. So yeah, Cyclops sued the U.S. government for damages and won. All because they sanction a racist. So I'm like, okay, so that's how I got the factory. And he explained some stuff related to stuff that he did. Oh yeah, and by the way, X-Men rounded up his one agents. You go, yeah, X-Fact, yep. Galaxy them. So he never would operate at my level. It would be my X-Men, not my Brotherhood. And I have to take out the one agents really easily. It's like I'm done with collateral damage. Yeah, and by the way, they're rounded up, and they hand off their agent. And then, by the way, Magic is wearing the outfit that was... I think this outfit was introduced when Brian Michael Bendis wrote Uncanny X-Men. So yeah, basically, since Quentin and Psylocke are busy, so ID, Magic, and Juggernaut go with Beast to deal with this other mission with Trevor Fitzroy and the Upstarts. Yep. Yeah, and about O-Force X, there's an XX stuff, so... And then, for some strange reason, Trevor Fitzroy is working with the frickin' Sugar Man! A guy who basically, in universe, no one wants to talk about this guy. And I'm like, what? Sugar Man? The heck? So, yeah. And then the very next issue, we still see, Kanan still basically having a very sexual relationship with the former Shrapnel, a.k.a. John Greycrow. Yes, this is a carryover from Krakoa. This is actually something I think people don't mind very much, though. I mean, it's obvious he had a thing for her from the time with, I think it was the Helions, I think it was. And, well, this is a smart move on their part. Yep. Yeah, it's a relation no one has a problem with. Despite the fact this guy used to kill mutants. He regrets that, so basically that's why he fell in love with Psylocke. And there's no denying Psylocke is hot. Also, for some reason, Psylocke is not in her very popular Ghibli look for some reason. I'm not sure why. So then we have a little second meeting with Psylocke and Quentin. And I'm surprised Quentin has used the chance to basically play a kiss on her. Not really. And so second plain stuff here. And then we have flashback to the Sabretooth War, which nice the fact they reference that. Yep. And of course, protest mutants like about a racist school. April, I think I can explain how the heck. And of course, they explained the whole homeless appearance was something MacNeil would call them. And it was like, we call them mutants. It's almost like he is basically this team's version of Charles Xavier. That's kind of what he's depicted here as. He's even in a wheelchair, floating wheelchair like Charles Xavier used to be in. So, then we have this kid reveal she was responsible for this. Oh, and the whole thing with, of how Magneto stopped flying. Well, this issue explains it. Issue number 7. We have Cyclops, for some reason's flashback, going back to the Alpha War during the Grant Morrison's New X-Men book. He decided to dig this out of storage. And, well, they kind of know the reason why. Asylum's going crazy, and Magneto's powers are out of control. So Cyclops decided to shoot him back, which of course apparently he was very grateful for. Somebody was causing his powers to haywire, so... And here's the thing, Magneto does not hold Cyclops responsible for him with a wheelchair. He probably thought it was necessary to do that. And then the issue ends with Beast on the phone with somebody, I think it's Quentin, then he gets kidnapped. And that leads into Assault on Greymalkin, which I'm looking forward to discussing when I think it's stuck in trade paperback. This book is actually really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I give this book a 9 out of 10. I know that Think Critical, he hates the From the Ashes book. You think like the only good book that of this whole era is Phoenix. I enjoy this. Next up we have is Last Annihilation, which collects Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe this is volume number 5, I think it is. Cable Reloaded, Last Annihilation, Wicked Hulkling, Last Annihilation, Wakanda, and Sword number 7. Volume 2, number 7. Excuse me. So, Al Ewing pretty much writes the Guardians of the Galaxy book, Sword, and Cable Reloaded. Annihilation, Last Annihilation, Wicked Hulkling is Anthony Olivia Ovara, and the Wakanda one is Elvin Nurse. I'm skipping most of this because I discussed stuff in 7 books already. I'm discussing 3 one-shots here. First up with is Cable Reloaded, which is done by Bob Quinn. The Wicked Hulkling one-shot is Juan Belida, and Jeremy Pursuit does the Wakanda one. So, the Cable Reloaded one-shot, which is awesome, the fact they have this one-shot. So, they put this thing right after the first couple parts of this crossover with Last Annihilation, which this event sadly ended Al Ewing's time on Guardians of the Galaxy, which was an amazing run. I don't get why. So basically, Cable is back in action. Yeah, this is first step. Yeah, Cable, like, he's back in action. He's basically kicking butt. Yeah, Rocky here in a suit. That's Al Ewing is doing. Like, be an honor. So yeah, you see him doing a lot of Cable stuff, getting basically a new arm. Him working with new X-Terminators. Feels like X-Force once again. You're like, wow, this one-shot's awesome. Because Al Ewing writes it. 2-page splash. Feels like 90s again. Here we go. Alright. Yep. So, yeah, they're basically fighting butt, kicking butt, taking no names. This book is awesome. And then, we have a bullet, and it leads into the Hulkling Wicked one-shot, which, yeah, this one-shot reveals, oh yeah, Hulkling's mom had a crush on Scott Bakula. Yeah. Which, of course, there's the stuff here with Hulkling and Wicked, where they just look like in the past, look like they're starting a relationship. Which, of course, also basically when they first met Iron Lad for the first time. The stuff basically with the fighting Last Annihilation stuff. It's kind of what they're up to during the whole thing. To go see Wicked seeing Dormammu for the first time. Yes. And, of course, you have a flashback to the original Captain Marvel here. Let's look at the wedding here, fighting Doctor Doom, and then we have the Last Annihilation Wakanda one-shot, where it's basically Black Panther contacts the Intergalactic Empire Wakanda to help with this Last Annihilation stuff. Yep. So that's kind of what he does here, and they basically go out and deal with basically the whole. We see reference by Gladiator here. I wonder where his son is. Deathbird is here. Everything here is so awesome. I love every bit of it. It basically shows like Al Ewing knows how to write sci-fi stuff. And that's the book in a nutshell. This book is fantastic. I love this book. Sad this event ended 2 books. Because Sword ended within a few issues after this crossover wrapped up. Guardians of the Galaxy ended with this very story. And then, for some reason, they waited a few years. They had Colin Kelly Jackson Lazy do the book, and I've done another Guardians book since then. This book is great. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's the particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Those people think, why didn't I review Last Annihilation, which is mostly a cosmic event with this book? Because a lot of the books are basically about 2 of the books tied into it are X books. Camp Reloaded and Sword X books. That was simply the reason for it. And, well, this Camp Reloaded one-shot will later lead into having at least 2 new miniseries. One of my favorite to seize up for tying the fall of X, and Cable Chrome Metal, which is really good, by the way. Yep, so yeah, that's a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. So, next time we have another Comic Corner. But I'm resting my voice for a bit. Gonna get something washed, come back and do another Comic Corner. Okay, next week. Bye.